Am I the a-hole for not wanting my wife's daughter to be introduced as a family friend? A few years ago, my wife and I got a letter from a woman claiming to be my wife's daughter, Laurel, who wanted to meet with her. She'd told me that she'd given up a child for adoption when she was young, so I was expecting that this might happen. What I didn't expect was that the truth was there was never any adoption. She just left the baby with the father and bailed. The worst thing about this is that when Laurel was 12, she wrote to my wife begging for help. Her response was to write her the nastiest reply imaginable. I've since had a chance to read it, that basically blamed her for her problems and threatened her against contacting her again and ruining her family. I couldn't believe it. Not only has she been lying this whole time, but she actively had contact and chose to abandon her a second time while we were married. This has all been an emotional dumpster fire, but that's an issue of its own. We've been in contact and building a relationship for the last few years. So much therapy. So far, we've kept this all away from our kids. At this point, it's been a few years, and there's interest in having everyone meet. The thing is, between my wife and Laurel, they've come to an agreement to tell the kids and everyone else in the family that Laurel is a family friend. Absolutely not. I'm sick of the lying. What they call each other is their own deal and I don't expect that to change. But I'm not lying anymore. I don't like lying to my kids as a policy, but lying to them about who's related to them and who isn't is dangerous. I only want them to meet if we can tell them the truth. Now I'm getting into it with my wife, Laurel, and my parents, the only outside people who know. They say I should go along with it not for my wife's sake but for Laurel's. I understand why she would want that, but I don't think I care anymore. The kids need to know. Am I the a-hole for wanting to introduce my wife's daughter to my kids as their sister?
Here are the top comments, plus Opie's reply.
Does the daughter still live with the father? How old is she?
OP replied,
No, she hasn't spoken to him since she was an adult, and I don't get the impression that it was a normal situation or consistent before then. She had a weird childhood. She is 34, and she has her own family now and has for decades.
Not the a-hole. Does she even has a little sympathy for the kid? It seems like the wife just bailed out and never wanted the kid again in her life. All those nasty words in the letter just show her real face. No remorse whatsoever. After all those years, it's like now she remembers she has a child somewhere and still wants to cover it up.
OP replied,
She does, but it seems to go between sympathy and judgment.
Your wife abandoned her when she was 12. That's horrible. I understand she's your wife and you're already entwined with your own children, but I don't think I could be with someone who had done something so awful. What if, one day, she decided to do the same to your kids?
Not the a-hole. The fallout from lying will be far worse than telling the truth upfront if she's ever found out. And you'll be just as guilty as her in your kids' eyes for lying by omission. If she's that ashamed, then she shouldn't be bringing Laurel round the family.
You're staying with someone like that? Is she the mother of your kids? If not, I would reconsider exposing them to her any further.